And we move on to having a more open discussion. I wanted to first just recognize again that we are doing this panel in cooperation with the German Ministry of Economic Development and the Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit. And their work is very much focused on the digital transformation centers. And the person who is responsible for this political framework within which this works is Mark Holzberger. Mark, do you want to explain us a little bit on what is behind it? On the one hand, this digital transformation centers, before we go and I ask Atiek and Eli about their work, and just also tell us what you have learned new through this session, which is basically Hack the Climate Crisis through the innovation pitches in our category, Environment and Green Energy. Mark, please.
Yes, thank you, Peter. And yes, as you said, my name is Mark Holzberger, and I'm really thrilled to be part of this today's panel. And let me first just congratulate all the winning projects, and thank you very much for your amazing presentations. And that was really inspiring for me. And coming to your question, Peter, on the digital transformation centers, I would say, as already stated by our new minister, Mrs. Svenja Schulze, in her opening remarks to this event, 16 of our digital transformation centers from Indonesia to Rwanda to Mexico are currently establishing collaborations with national structures to more effectively promote local digital innovations in the fight against climate change. And I'm very glad to see our partners from the digital transformation centers in India, Indonesia and Vietnam here in the call. And we hope that we can show and demonstrate how effective it is to work with not just national, but also within the Team Europe approach on these issues, because we are, let me just emphasize that we have founded within the European Union a D4D hub with now 12 European member states and the Commission working on all aspects of digital for development policies. And we have just founded a group which is highly concentrating on the work of digital and green. And so Germany is co-leading this working group, and we will take many of these inspirations from today right into the work of the D4D hub. You can be sure that we will, that me and my colleagues will very closely follow what these and your winning projects will do in the forthcoming period. Thank you very much for your presentations. And I would just emphasize two aspects at the end that I've learned very much about the importance about regulatory frameworks. When I look at the peer-to-peer projects, the Treeconomy, the Ecodrone, and the waves, they all depend on regulatory frameworks, and that is very much where development cooperation, such as from the BMZ, is involved. And I was very interested in the Okra solar project. Thank you very much for that presentation. And because it's so much interlinked with the debate on digital infrastructure, and we always look on how we can close the last mile approach. And so I thank you very much for your solutions. And we will have a working group in the D4D hub concentrating on connectivity, digital connectivity, and please allow me that I will demonstrate your project also to my European colleagues. Thank you very much so far.
Thank you very much, Mark. That's really great. I think you can use the WSA website also with the videos, and also we will have a recording of this session in order to spread this. I think that what you are saying is something very interesting and important for our partners and our winners globally. You know, be them from Australia or from Canada, from India or from South Africa or from Luxembourg. In Europe, there is a really shift and an understanding that we need use data for good, and that we need to basically also work on this. For instance, I have initiated in Austria the Green Data Hub, which is working basically data for sustainability, and where we basically need to do this kind of networking. That means that we are looking at technology in terms of the issues which were addressed now in terms of transparency. But in WSA, we always look at the impact. And therefore, I wanted to ask Eli and Atiek about how they see in their region, in their countries, in Indonesia and in Vietnam, the impact of the work which the digital transformation centers can do. And what did you learn new from the presentations of today? Atiek, do you want to take it away, please?
Okay, thank you, Professor Bruck, for the opportunity, and thank you for Mr. Mark opening and explain about our work. So I think it is very interesting to see colleagues from Okra for like there, and also I mean, like I mentioned the startups that is quite relevant for my work in the past 10 years in rural electrification in Indonesia. That's why it rings a bell. That their solution is actually very spot on. I think we in DGIZ have been assisting rural expanding access to energy for, you know, Indonesia consists of 13,000 islands, and we have a massive challenges to electrify those communities in the last mile communities, and the power sharing and also the modular system and mesh grid, and also all the digitalization in their solution is very, very relevant for us. But then again, the regulatory and the public policy in Indonesia is not yet adapt or ready for this movement of digitalization of like energy and also other like environmental and forestry topics and technical vocational education. So I think all the solution that is presented this evening is very important as well for Indonesia. And if Treeconomy can expand their services in Indonesia, where we lost so many forests for mining and also plantation, that will be wonderful. And that's why in Indonesia we are focusing on green technology, Professor Bruck, because we see that Indonesia has a very thriving digital economy. As you know, we are like the fourth biggest startup ecosystem now. But in Indonesia, the use of digital technology for these pressing issues on climate and environment is not yet being supported. So that's why in DTC in Indonesia, we are very focused on this topic. And what I learned is actually, I think I learned that last mile communities in Indonesia, in Africa, in Cambodia, in India has something in common, that they live near their economic activities in farming area, and while in Indonesia it's more in a small island. So and have enormous challenges to mobilize machine and components, etc. Therefore, we need to really support the decentralization of energy, especially in Indonesia, where we haven't seen that will come very soon due to the regulatory. But we are working on it in Indonesia. yeah, that's
Thank you.
my
Thank you very much, Atiek, on this. I just want to connect you right away to Rob. Robert Godfrey from Treeconomy. Have you already had your contacts in Indonesia, or you're still stuck in London?
No, we haven't really got any contacts in Indonesia yet, but we recognize
okay.
it's a country with huge potential.
Do you find what Atiek says inviting enough?
Definitely. And Atiek, you'll be hearing from me after this.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
That's great. So this is the kind of connection which GIZ and the BMZ want to have through this connection in this panel. Let's move on and look at Vietnam. Eli, what is, in terms of the impact, your main concern now in your country? And what did you learn new from this panel here? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So it's very glad to listen to a lot of solutions, and I'm very impressed with the solution that the winner of the WSA bring in, especially with the peer-to-peer solar, the Okra part, and finally the women empowerment by Ecording. From the perspective of Vietnam, we in the past 5 years. We have the interest from the government when we focus for climate change and we spend pretty a lot of the budget by the government to have enterprises and companies here to solve the problem by the climate change. So far, so good. We have about like 6 ministries, including, you can say, a lot of problem come from the transport and agriculture as the weakness beneficiary. And then we also have the other climate change that the ministry is interested in. So not only the ministries in Vietnam caring, we also have the agreement by 1/3 of the provinces in our country to hands in and contribute to the climate actions. So basically, with all of the solutions that you presented today, I believe that, and I really wanted to see it happening here in Vietnam if you have the plan to expand. And we're happy as a DTC Vietnam, a part of the GIZ. We are happy to make a connections with and to go deeper for the need and the need and the demand of the market. With your questions on the impact in Vietnam, we have the digitalization just not yet too popular. We only have mainly focused on the e-government and some of the big corporations implying and do the digitalizations. However, in the past 3 years, as you all know, that COVID collapsed everything. And with that in mind, not only the big companies or corporations, but the SME and tiny companies, they do understand more easily about the digitalizations, because before that we didn't know what is it. So to educate the companies and the CEO or leaders, what is digitalizations? We need time, but COVID actually turns out to be a good opportunity for us. And we had the last weekend for gathering all of the companies who caring about digitalization, and we realized that 48% of the companies were asked is already implementing all of the digitalization solutions. So with that in mind, I think and I believe that Vietnam SME and companies are ready to implement all of the digital solutions. And if we can have the good solutions and can bring a good impact for the communities, for the household and livings, then that would be great. But last point, as Marcus pointed out before, is the regulatory framework. That's the number one in Vietnam. We are in the need to solve, not only for my project, DTC Vietnam, working on the green tech and industry 4.0 or data economy, but also for other partners here in Vietnam. We need to work with regulatory partners and to bring it and to convince the government of the necessary. What I learned from the presentation is the solution is doable, feasible, and I saw like half of the solutions is absolutely applying in Vietnam, and really looking forward to the day.
Thank you very much, Ellie. I think that this is a great invitation to everybody of the presenters. Now, I want to ask Vinod or Marcus or Armin or Robert or Sarah, are you seeing your potential in Vietnam and in Indonesia from what was said now? And what would be the hurdles for you to enter the market? And what would you need in terms of the support, possibly also through the digital transformation centers for which Eli was speaking, and also Atiek? Who wants to take it away? Is it?
I can jump in first.
Sorry, go ahead, Rob. Rob, and then Vinod, please.
Sure. No, it's a great question, Peter. I think, as with Indonesia, we see huge potential in Vietnam to support the creation of forests, of woodlands that obviously address our climate goals, but offer huge co-benefits to biodiversity and rural communities there. I think something that we'll always need whenever we go abroad with our work and sort of continue to expand our efforts is a local delivery partner. So Treeconomy contributes experience around sort of remote sensing intelligence, and we help to connect these projects to the market, help to secure them a good price, and of course ensure that people buying credits out of the project can do so confidently. But we won't be the company that plants the trees, for example. And we also recognize that there's plenty we don't know, not only with respect to local regulatory frameworks, but local community custom, social mores, and frankly, just it's vital that we find trusted partners that understand the places in which we work and actually have the capability to deliver these restoration projects. We can then come in and monitor them, connect them to finance. So we'd absolutely need to find someone locally, be that sort of a private or third sector partner that could help in setting projects up.
Thank you very much, Rob. We go on to first to Vinod and then to Armin, please. Vinod, please.
Yep. Look, both Vietnam and Indonesia are sort of key countries that we would love to be present and be part of their energy ecosystem. In fact, we have multiple conversations already going on in Vietnam and also in Indonesia as well. So we actually hope to be demonstrating our solutions and how it can support the communities to procure cheaper, cleaner power and make the power systems more resilient. In Vietnam, we working with regulators and the main vertically integrated utility. So that's where the major impact is possible. So working with the policymakers and showing them how at the grassroots level, peer-to-peer can take their energy reform process to the next step. So they have been undergoing this reform, and last year they introduced private PPA, power purchase agreement, for renewable energy. Now this is taking a step down to community level and also, of course, commercial industrial business is part of that as well, but also residential customers can procure cheaper, cleaner, green energy through these peer-to-peer energy trading systems, and creating this ecosystem where utility and the distribution network can function in a way that doesn't interrupt or create congestion on the grid or causes issues around voltage or reactive power management type of issues. So an orderly scaling up of renewable model for Vietnam. In Indonesia, as Atiek mentioned, there are obviously thousands of islands, many of them still powered by diesel. So there's an opportunity to move from diesel to renewable for all these island communities, where our platform will create this controlling, optimization, and trading solution for the communities as well.
I think that's a very important aspect also for Atiek's work. Let me just make a point of clarification here. How much is your peer-to-peer solution, or also Okra Pod from Marcus, designed to support and also to transform the energy system in rural communities? But given that more than 50% of people live in cities, what are you doing for the city people, for the city dweller, for those people who have, let's say, communal housing, or who live in large apartment blocks or things like this? Vinod, just want to answer this, and then we go on to Armin, please.
Yeah, so majority of our projects around the world are in the urban communities. It is a solution for smart cities, for urban communities, for urban grids, very much a solution there. What we've showcased is that it is also a solution for rural regional markets as well. We have, I mentioned a project in Delhi, a project in Australia, multiple projects in Australia, all in urban communities. We've done work in the city of Osaka with Kansai Electric Power Company in Japan. And we have operating projects in Europe, including energy community projects in Austria, France, projects in both east and west coast of United States as well. So very much a solution which integrates distributed energy resources, not just rooftop solar, but also energy storage, electric vehicles, and creates that ecosystem that enables their integration back to the larger energy landscape. So very much a solution for urban market that's given. But what we have been showcasing through this project in Uttar Pradesh in India is this is also a solution for scaling up at the masses level in the rural communities as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you mind if I take Marcus first, because he might really connect directly to this? Marcus, please.
Yeah, I guess just to jump in a little bit, I would almost say that our solution is almost purposefully designed for rural electrification. It produces 1.2 kilowatts of output, which is enough for a fridge or a freezer, but it's not really enough to run a hairdryer, for example. However, we've been approached by a couple of companies, especially here in South Africa, where there's this thing called load shedding, where there's almost intermittent power cuts during the day. That's looked to use our solution as almost like a candlelight system, where you just supply enough power to the household to be able to run routers, for example, or any other basic appliances. So yeah, that's more or less where we are. But really what we want to do is, rural electrification and helping get energy access out from the ground up.
Okay, thank you very much. Armin, you raised your hands. Thank you very much for being so patient. Please go ahead.
That's one of my strengths, to be patient. Yeah. Well, our wave solution addresses the industry, and today we talk about global supply chain. So there are a lot of producers, but also suppliers in Indonesia and Vietnam. So, and even if there isn't a regulation until now, but very, very soon, all the customers over the world, from Europe, from America, from wherever, are demanding also sustainability indicators from all the suppliers from these countries as well. So it's a big opportunity also to position the companies there also as sustainability companies. That's the one point. And the other point is we already work together with Vietnam, because there are excellent computer scientists. We work together with a team there.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any more questions from people who are on the jury? We have another 10 minutes to go. Would you want to ask a question or to intervene on this? I can see that there's Sarah, you wanted to say something also. Please, Sarah, go ahead.
If we have time, I would like to add something very quickly. Of course, we would like to move our both business model and operations to other countries and geographies. The moving our business model is the easiest one actually, because it depends the brand's point of view, and we have some example also. But moving our physical operation is the hardest part, because for example, in Turkey, it took 1.5 years at least, whole R&D research and on this species, on the seeds type, something like that. And also every country and every region has their own regulations about afforestations. And we would like to move first maybe South America, something like that. But there is many obstacles we have to overcome actually in terms of these regulations and afforestation situation. But I guess it's gonna take sometimes like 2 years, something like that. But we are on the way actually.
Thank you very much for this very, let's say, positive outlook, but also showing what the hurdles are for us in terms of our future development. Let me then close this session on the innovation pitches for the environment and green energy. I want to thank again, especially also to Mark Holzberger and also to your ministry for the good collaboration. It's also very important to see that WSA is not just a global initiative in 184 countries, working with the ITU, UNIDO, UNESCO, things like this. Our goal is to bring things down to the ground, to bring things into the ground, to, change what's happening in the ground in terms of new trees growing, in terms of forests surviving. I think we need to tackle a lot of the issues regarding the regulatory environment, but also the policies when you look to Brazil and other countries and also the Congo. And I think that we have our work cut out. Lastly, I think that it's what was really interesting to me as the chairperson of WSA is how we have switched actually and moved into very much data-driven solutions. So you are the work which you have done, the projects which you have presented, the companies which you represent are very much data savvy. They are technology smart, and they are AI enabled and machine learning, powered. So that is really a really novel and innovative aspect this year. We see this transformation taking place, this datafication also of our content-driven solutions. And I take this also as a great thing in terms of the future impact which you will make. And let's work together, connect for impact. Thank you very much for this very interesting session, and congratulations again to the winners. Thank you to the jurors, and also thank you to GIZ and also to the program which you are running in terms of the digital transformation centers.